What's going on, guys? Rainy old drive across the island.
So we're heading out to St. John's, taking a 3 days away from the west coast, and we're gonna go look at sailboats. I'm super excited.
It's gonna be awesome.
Maybe the one is for us, that's for us, is over there.
So we're finally sailing for the first time ever. It's pretty exciting. Something going on there. Hunter. There's a few options over there, so it's going to be pretty nice comparing to the options we've seen so far on the west coast. There's some, but
two in Cornbrook that are shitty.
Pretty limiting anyway. Well, I wouldn't say they're shitty. They just don't fit for us.
Fair enough.
And yeah, so it'll be interesting to see more sailboats at the right time of year when not everybody's just sailing them around. So now people are considering selling them a lot more.
So yeah, there's a couple of them ranging between 30 to 38 feet in length. So some of the smaller ones we're not too sure. We're more looking at something maybe like mid-30s because we do want to live aboard and we want to sail it away from Newfoundland's coastal waters. But the longer it gets, the more expensive it kind of becomes. So that's why we're going to as low as 30-footer, depending on what kind of layout it has and if it's something that it has to feel right, really. You've got to get in the boat and it's got to feel like the good one. Like we're going to be living into it. It's going to be our home. Mm-hmm. So I think the first one we're going to be stepping at is a Catalina 30-foot. I really don't remember how old the boat is. The owner is kind of tricky to get a hold of. She works out west. So finally got a hold of her this morning. And the boat's unlocked, so we're gonna go just kind of step in it and check it out.
Tell me a story, Alex. It's a long drive. I need a story.
So what do you do when you've got 7 to 8 hours of driving to go check out some boats? You read Don Cassay's Sailboat Maintenance book. There's a nice section into it about boat surveys and all the different things to look at. Mast headgear. While you're at the top of the mast, check to see that all masthead lights work. Check antenna and wind instrument mountings as well as the condition of the equipment.
So, this may seem kind of like a random ball drop or a random thing for us to, just decide to do. Okay, we're gonna go to St. John's and buy a sailboat. Sounds smart. But no, we've actually been planning this for a long time and been looking at a lot of boats, doing a lot of research, and actually we've just decided that a sailboat is really right for us because it fits our lifestyle. It fits what we want as far as being able to have all of our stuff in one location, sort of, so to speak, or most of it anyway, a comfortable amount of stuff, and be able to just go somewhere with it and move around with it. We've debated between maybe having a car, a larger, van or something to travel around in, or maybe a bus or an RV. There's all sorts of different options, lots of things that you can do, but we're really attracted to the sailing lifestyle and what that offers, so that's what we've decided on. Hey guys, super exciting. The sun's out, we're looking at boats. Really stoked. This one is so far the best one we've seen as far as within our price range, and not too many things wrong with it, so really exciting. Maybe this will be the boat that we get, or at least we're gonna pay and have a survey done and have it looked at so we can get a better idea of any major problems that we might run into. No, I'm like serious. But like I don't see anything. I mean, of course, he provided a satisfactory survey, but these are the worst things I see. There's like little small things, but like the amount of other things that are added to make up for the small things that are wrong are like these are the things I see that's small. Rebedding or extensions and stuff. You know, like I hate it for this reason, but I don't think it's that.
Yeah.
I'm not getting much of that at all.
I like how stuff is organized.
There's a little bit of work to do on some of like the bedding around.
Yeah. It's too bad.
No, it's not bad at all. And then I noticed some of these are worse than others. This one over there is the worst. But it's really, it's like, you know, you just have to rebed it.
Yeah.
Put a little bit of, like what you did.
Yes.
It's like you can't really avoid that.
No, I mean, gets used. We are in Holyrood on the east coast of Newfoundland. Just came back from looking at some sailboats, and we're gonna be hiking Murray's Trail? Murray Hiking Trail, I think.
Shape.
So one of the really awesome thing about driving in between marinas is that as you're driving you see trails. So we actually saw the sign for this hiking trail, pulled over and started hiking. So why does one drive almost 8 hours across an island to the other side to go look at sailboats?
Yeah, it's been really nice coming up here to clear our mind and just talk a little bit about it, and we thought we'd share with you some of our things we've come up with, I guess, or you know, things that we've learned along the way.
So one of the main tips we would say is actually dealing directly with the owner is much more rewarding, just because you get to get a bit of a feel of who owns the boat and what kind of person are they. Are they actually maintaining their boat? Because we've actually experienced some very highly neglected sailboats, and it's a shame they're just kind of rotting. So getting to know the owner and asking as many questions as you want or can is actually you gain a lot of knowledge versus dealing with a broker who might not know as much as you would hope about the sailboats they're selling, and they're trying to sell something.
Yeah, and just sometimes it feels like their interests aren't always with your best interests, I guess. But it just you obviously got to do your own homework and decide what's best for yourself. Yeah. Anyways, from our own experience, we've seen a few different boats. Maybe we'll show you a couple throughout the B-roll here. Yeah, I mean, like Alex was saying, we've seen really neglected boats, and from what we've read and from our research, we've discovered that there's a big difference between a boat that has been well used or used a lot and well taken care of versus a boat that's just been sitting there and neglected and hasn't been used and is just falling apart.
So we've pretty much been looking at anything between 30 foot up until, I think the biggest was 35, 36 foot?
I mean, I guess originally we thought 30 foot was way too small. 20s are way too small for what we're looking for anyway, of course.
Which is a liveaboard kind of sailboat.
Yeah, so, and then we were like leaning towards 40s, but then that was a bit too big, honestly. I think we were a bit too ambitious about what we wanted and how much space we thought we needed.
And it's a little bit more expensive.
Oh, a lot more expensive, absolutely.
You see a major gap of how much a boat costs between like your 20s, because there's a lot of sailboats in the 20, 27 kind of range, so they're much more affordable. But then it's way too small for the two of us to live on. To then you just jump to the 30, jumping to the 35 footers, and you really see the increments in prices. And actually something really interesting is how 30 footers can be so different. Like one make to another boat builder is going to be totally different in the space that's utilized.
Yeah, the use of space is amazing. It's you go in one 30 footer, maybe even the same make, the same people are actually creating these boats, and yet from one year to another you have a vast difference in how well the space is laid out and what is usable space actually.
Mm-hmm. So that really broadens your horizons in terms of, well, a 35 footer might be the same as a 30 footer. So then anyways, it's just our boat looking has evolved quite a bit over the last year, I guess. Of what we're considering and what would be fitting for us.
Perfect example of that is, the displacement ratio. We don't need to get too technical with you guys, but basically there's a lot of ratios and different things that you can look at. The more you dig into things, and it almost becomes overwhelming at times, but the more you dig in and the more you learn, the more you feel confident about your choices that you're making and the boats that you're ruling out and the boats that you're maybe putting on the back burner maybe for a later time in your life, because maybe this boat, and I'm pretty sure that whatever boat we decide on won't be our last boat.
And something I would really suggest also is just go walk around marinas, because maybe you're not necessarily looking into purchasing a certain type of boat, but it's really nice to get to meet lots of different sailors. And most of them are so welcoming that they're going to bring you aboard and below deck, and they'll show you what kind of layout and what kind of engine, and you're going to learn so many things that is way easier to learn and get hands-on versus reading books or watching videos, I guess. So it's really nice to get to meet those people, get in as many boats as you can, so that then if you see one comes up for sale that's quite far from your place, maybe you'll know if it's worth the drive or not.
Yeah. Yeah, so here we are, East Coast this time.
We're in CBS.
Yep.
Right next to the Royal Newfoundland Yacht Club, and we're enjoying the sunset.
Mm-hmm. Just spent the entire day looking at, 20 boats, multiple boats. It's really exciting. We've seen lots, been through lots of different experiences, learning lots about what we don't want and what we do want. But now we're here just kind of chilling out and enjoying the view. Beautiful sunset. So something else that's kind of interesting that we found only through our research and going to see lots of different boats is how there's almost a yin and yang relationship between every aspect of, dragonfly, between every aspect of the boat. Whether it's, you're constantly trading something for something else. So you might get a little bit more room for like sleeping quarters, but you're gonna lose in storage, or you're gonna get a little bit more power, or you can be a lighter boat, be able to move a little bit faster, but you're gonna lose in stability and comfort. And like, so it's a constant balance of what you want and what you plan to do with your boat. You can really have to do your own research and find out what you plan to do with your boat. Are you just going for a day sail, the odd day sail? Are you planning on sailing away? You don't necessarily have to 100% get a blue water sailing boat that has a super deep draft, which is the part that's below the water, and just because everybody tells you it's the most comfortable way to sail, because there's a lot of people that have the other end of the spectrum, which is more cruisers or just like day sailors sort of boats, more yachty type boats, I guess. And they're still very happy and they're sailing around all the same. Maybe they're not quite as comfortable, but they get there faster potentially. Like it's a balance.
So that's it, like you don't necessarily have to start with your ideal boat because there's just so many different things to look at. I mean, it's something you might get something that seems very that suits your needs at the beginning, but then as you experience, it's like anything in life, the more you expose yourself to something, the more you start realizing what you really like, what you don't like. So that's a bit something we've been noticing with our sailboat shopping and looking around of this summer, how at first we really wanted a specific type of boat because that's what we read was supposedly the best thing, but then you start looking or getting different opinions from different people. You're like, well, maybe it's not such a good boat, or maybe one of them you weren't even considering, maybe it'll become something that you're like, well, from all the different feedback, different opinions of different sailors, maybe it's actually something that you should look into. Like reading reviews can be quite it's very biased to a certain extent. So
everybody's got their own opinion, their own thought process on what a perfect boat is.
And everyone loves their sailboat.
Yeah,
their
so
sailboat's the best.
That's right. So once you have a sailboat, you almost just like with anything, once you buy something and you're like, this is mine, well, that becomes your new standard, and all of a sudden, like everything else, you're comparing it against that, and maybe there's other components that are better, but then all of a sudden, because you own that, you're finding ways to make it seem better in your mind.
From what we've been experiencing anyways.
I mean, I just find you could relate it to anything you buy. You buy a computer, despite there's a brand new version way out there, you still like it, it still works for you, it still gets you by until you decide to get a new one. Same sort of thing. So, something else I wanted to mention on something that Alex mentioned earlier, about how you should get out there. Don't be afraid to go to marinas, like Alex was saying, because it's really the best way. And you're not only going to gain all of this knowledge, but you might actually get to go out and sail if you haven't had the opportunity to do that yet, which we were both kind of in that boat just last year. We hadn't sailed before, but we were passionate about learning to sail and buying a boat and living on a boat. So we just started talking to people, and then the sailing community is just so friendly. They're there to help. They want to go out sailing, and often they need crew.
That's it, they need more people, because we've noticed there's a lot of bit of an older generation that tends to sail, and a lot of them The wife doesn't want to go sail, so the poor man is by himself wanting to go out, but just wanting some extra hands. So then you end up going aboard those boats just because they just want to have a buddy to share a fun afternoon with.
Yeah. Or I mean, it's often a much easier too to sail with, you know, an extra person, unless you have it all rigged for one person. You need that extra hand every now and then, and some people honestly aren't comfortable without having that extra person. So you could be that extra person, and you could get out there and have a great time with these new friends that you're meeting. Hey guys, just making some pasta. Yum yum. Just here, gonna do a little bit of camping, sort of car camping, sleeping in the car over at Topsail Beach. It's gonna be awesome. We got the stars out, some nice campfires down by the beach. Gonna be a nice night. Whoa! Don't forget to hit the like button down below if you liked it.
Yeah,
it's good. All right, shoot me.
Yeah, shoot me.
Bang, bang, bang.